Have you ever wondered what really happens when you sleep? Every night you lie down on your bed, close your eyes, and seemingly disappear from the world. Your body is still there, still, motionless. But your consciousness, your thoughts, your feelings, all disappear. Everything around you fades and then turns off, as if someone has turned off the entire universe. Where do you go during those hours? Science calls it sleep, a process for the body to rest and recover. But if it were that simple, why do you dream? Why in your dreams can you see strange images, hear clear sounds, feel real emotions as if you were living in another world? And not only that, there are dreams that haunt you for days. There are people who dream about the future. Some people wake up feeling like they've just returned from a long journey somewhere far away, even though they've only had a short nap. Is sleep not just a time to rest, but a time when your mind leaves this world and enters another door, another reality where logic doesn't exist and time has no meaning? Modern science has long tried to reduce sleep to a biological chain reaction, a physical recovery mechanism, as simple as recharging a battery. But if it's really that simple, why are you transported to places that are both strange and creepy? Why can a fleeting dream leave a deep emotional aftertaste that lasts for days, even weeks? And why do some people dream of things that go beyond the limits of logic, time, and reality? Thousands of years ago, our ancestors believed that dreams were a bridge to the invisible world, a place where souls were released, where God sent messages, where truths were hidden in symbols and images. They did not see sleep as a meaningless state, but as a secret journey that everyone goes through, whether they realize it or not. You are told that during sleep, both the body and the mind are quiet and at rest, but the truth seems to be quite the opposite. The brain, during certain stages of sleep, especially REM, rapid eye movement sleep, is even more active than when awake. Researchers have measured brainwaves during this state that surpass normal conscious activity. And here's the weirdest part. During this state, the brain regions associated with vision, emotion, and memory are highly active, while the regions responsible for reasoning and judgment are slow. If sleep is just for rest, why does the brain prioritize vivid images and intense emotions over logic? What's really going on in your mind when you dream? Why do so many people report having full conversations, seeing scenes in incredible detail, and experiencing sensations so real that they are confused when they wake up? Some people even wake up with information they never knew, as if someone had implanted the knowledge into them in their dreams. Have you ever dreamed of a place you didn't know existed, only to find out later that it was there? Or heard words in your dream that you knew couldn't possibly have come from you? If sleep is just a biological function, why are the experiences during it so profound, even changing your mood and emotions when you wake up? Why does your brain, which is supposed to be resting, create vast universes with stories, characters, and emotions that far surpass anything you've ever known in real life? And time? It seems to disappear. A dream that seems to last for hours can take place in mere minutes in real life. Some people say they've lived an entire lifetime in a dream that lasted 10 minutes. You probably never really think about it, but when you close your eyes at night, you're leaving this world and entering another. And maybe that world is much more real than you ever believed it to be. It is possible for a single night's sleep to carry the knowledge and experiences of an entire lifetime. How come? These are things that the majority of people never stop to question. The moment they open their eyes, they discard their dreams as useless and on with the rest of their day. Sleep, however, was seen differently in ancient cultures. Many people held the belief that dreaming was a mode of communication, a means by which the mind might gain access to information that was not based in the actual world. Dreams were considered to be divine messages by indigenous communities. According to ancient Egyptian beliefs, sleep was a time when the spirit was able to briefly depart from the body. In many Buddhist teachings, it is suggested that the dream state is just as valid as waking life, and that what we consider to be reality may actually be nothing more than a different type of dreaming. What is the version of the truth that is actually true? You mean the one that says sleep is nothing more than the brain's technique of renewing itself? Or the one that implies that sleep is a portal, a passageway into something that goes beyond what you feel when you are awake? The electrical activity of the brain has been mapped out by science, But it does not offer a genuine explanation for why dreams seem so profound, why they occasionally reveal secret knowledge, or why people from different cultures and time eras have experienced dream experiences that are hauntingly similar to one another. It is not possible to have an open conversation about certain aspects of sleep because they are so fundamental. We do this by disseminating exclusive information through our free newsletter, which is called Insights Academy. Even though there are some realities that we are unable to discuss here, we delve into them further in the newsletter. A free digital copy of the Kabbalion will be provided to you if you sign up right now through the link that is provided in the description. This offer is only available for a limited time. Consider what this implies in your mind. Every night when you close your eyes, your consciousness changes into a whole other condition of being. This happens every single night. When you are awake, you see images that might sometimes feel more real than the world around you. You engage in interactions with individuals, locations, and feelings that are not commonly associated with your day-to-day existence. On the other hand, when you come to, you reject everything as a fantasy. Imagine that every night when you fall asleep, you are not just resting, you are entering a secret world, parallel to the reality we call life. An invisible door opens, taking your consciousness to another dimension, where time, logic, and physical limitations no longer exist. And if that is true, the question is not just what happens when we sleep, but also what actually happens when we wake up. Because something strange happens every night. When your body enters the deepest stage of sleep, your brain begins to secrete a mysterious chemical. A strange, rare compound, so powerful that those who have come into contact with it, whether through shamanic ritual or scientific research, report experiences that are beyond language, beyond time, even beyond reality. Its name is DMT, dimethyltryptamine, one of the most powerful hallucinogens known to science. It opens doors to distant worlds, unfathomable dimensions, and encounters with entities the human mind cannot explain. And the chilling thing is, it is produced in your own brain every night while you dream. Why? Why would the body produce a substance associated with near-death experiences, spiritual awakenings, and altered states of consciousness, if dreams are just the mind's mind clearing out its memories? People dream of places they've never been, and then suddenly discover they actually exist. Some people hear words in their dreams that don't seem to belong to them. Others wake up with strong emotions that last for days, as if they've just returned from a soul journey. Could it be that when you sleep, you're not just resting, you're connecting with something beyond what we understand of reality? People who have experienced DMT in ancient rituals or modern experiments often describe the same thing: being transported to another dimension, meeting intelligent beings, and receiving information they never thought they could know. The experiences are eerily dreamlike. If so, are dreams simply hallucinations? Or windows into other realms, where your soul is free to wander from your body? Think back to people who have had near-death experiences. They often talk about tunnels of light, feelings of absolute peace, and transcendent beings coming to greet them. And again, DMT. It surges in your brain when you're close to death, and it's also present in your deepest dreams. Coincidence? Or is it a sign that sleep and death are two sides of the same gate? Sleep may not be a break, but a journey. So what happens when you wake up? Are you really back in reality? Or are you just moving into another layer of simulation, another level of consciousness, where you're programmed to forget everything you just saw? Have you ever had a dream that was unusual, not as confusing as the others? It was sharp, vivid, and when you woke up, you remembered every detail. Then one day it happened in real life, exactly as in the dream. The location, the words, the expressions, everything. You tell yourself it's just a coincidence or déjà vu. But deep down, you know it's not a coincidence. For centuries, humans have recorded prophetic dreams, sometimes small things, sometimes major disasters. It is said that Abraham Lincoln dreamed of his own assassination just days before it happened. If dreams are just the brain replaying memories, how can we foresee things that haven't happened yet? Modern science tries to disprove this, saying that the mind is just splicing together data. But that doesn't explain the accuracy of precognitive dreams or the feeling that we know something that can't be known. Quantum physics suggests that time isn't linear. The past, present, and future exist in parallel. So when you dream, are you slipping away from the fixed timeline, connecting with possibilities that haven't yet occurred? Then the dream isn't imagination. It's another dimension of consciousness. And if so, if DMT is the key, who decided that you shouldn't remember? Why do most of us wake up with no memory of where we've been? Is the brain programmed to forget? To continue living in this illusion without doubt? What about ancient cultures? They believed that dreams were messages from the gods, doors to the unseen world. They did not see dreams as illusions, but as hidden truths. So if everything you believe about sleep is wrong, have you really woken up? Or have you just slipped into another dream, called reality? A number of the people who perished aboard the Titanic reported having frightening visions before their embarkation on the ship. There are innumerable instances of people having dreams of events that occurred before they actually took place, and they are aware of things that they had no rational means of knowing. Given that dreams are nothing more than random brain activity, what could possibly account for this phenomenon? Attempts have been made by the scientific community to dismiss precognitive dreams as a mere coincidence or a mental trick. They assert that our subconscious is able to pick up on minute hints from our environment, and when something similar occurs in real life, we are able to convince ourselves that we foresaw it. On the other hand, this does not sufficiently explain the precision, the particulars that were impossible to have known in advance. Dreams should not be able to reveal events that have not yet taken place if they are nothing more than a recycling of experiences that have already occurred. Assuming that time flows in only one direction, forward, is a common misconception. What happens, however, if this is just true in the waking world? The field of quantum physics has already advanced the hypothesis that time is not as linear as we understand it to be. There are theories that argue that the past, the present, and the future all exist simultaneously. Nevertheless, the human mind is only calibrated to perceive time in a linear fashion for the most part. If this is the case, then what if we are able to temporarily release ourselves from that limitation through the act of sleeping? Give it some thought. Dreaming causes you to have an entirely different understanding of the passage of time. Even if a dream only lasts a few seconds while you are awake, it can feel like it has lasted for hours, days, or even years. It has been stated that individuals have had the experience of living many lifetimes within a single dream, only to wake up and discover that no time had passed. Exactly what does this tell us? At the time when we are sleeping, our consciousness is not constrained by the same laws. And if time does not operate in the same manner in the dream state, is it really so hard to accept that there are times when we might be able to catch glimpses of a future that has not yet occurred? It's likely that our mind doesn't perceive time as a linear progression, but rather as a huge ocean in which every conceivable moment exists simultaneously. During the time that we are asleep and dreaming, it is possible that we venture beyond the boundaries of our waking vision and connect with the vastness of the ocean, capturing fragments of a reality that our physical brains are not built to understand. In addition, if this is the case, it indicates that our minds do not merely observe reality in a passive manner. Rather, they actively navigate it by moving between different times, different possibilities, and between the past and the future. In light of this, what does it imply about free will? Does the fact that certain people are able to dream of events that will take place in the future imply that the future has already been written? Alternatively, does this imply that dreams do not reveal a predetermined destiny, but rather possibilities, glimpses into potential courses of action that may be taken? And if dreams are able to conjure up sights from a future that has not yet occurred, then what other information are they able to reveal? How much more is concealed within the recesses of our mind while we are asleep, just waiting to be uncovered? You come to, but there is something wrong with you. However, your body is not responding to your attempts to move. You feel as though a crushing weight is pressing down on your chest, and despite your best efforts, you are unable to escape the situation. Then you become aware of it. You are being watched by a shadow that is standing in the corner of your room. Although it does not move, you are able to sense it. There is something that cannot be described that is thick and heavy in the air. You try to scream, but you are unable to let out any sound. Your heart is pounding. In spite of your entire awareness, you have no control. After that, suddenly, just as abruptly as it started, it was finished. You suddenly burst into consciousness, gasping for air and experiencing the aftershock of something that is far more than a dream. The conventional scientific community refuses to acknowledge that sleep paralysis is anything more than a brain malfunction, despite the fact that it is one of the most terrible experiences a person can have. They will tell you that it occurs when the body is slow in the process of waking up, and that your mind becomes conscious before your body regains control of the situation. It has been asserted that the figures that people see, the shadowy silhouettes, the demonic beings, and the presence in the room are all nothing more than hallucinations, the result of the brain malfunctioning in a condition of half-dreaming. Nevertheless, if this is the case, then why do millions of people from different cultures and different eras claim to have witnessed the same thing? It was the shadow figure, the elderly woman, and the man in the hat. Despite the fact that they have never met, never spoken to one another, and never discussed their experiences, these creatures continue to be described by individuals. In what way is it possible that hallucinations, which are meant to be random and meaningless, have been shown to materialize the same horrific monsters throughout history? According to the beliefs of many societies, sleep paralysis is not a sickness, but rather an incursion, which is an experience with something that exists beyond the realm of normal perception. These shadow beings are not considered to be figments of the mind in many different traditions. Rather, they are genuine entities that feed on fear and are drawn to the vulnerable state that exists between sleep and alertness. They are supposed to be spirits, devils, or interdimensional beings that exist alongside us, but are mostly unseen in some ancient belief systems. These beings are thought to be present in existence. In addition, the curtain is lifted slightly for a brief period of time during sleep paralysis. There is another aspect that does not make sense, and that is the sensation of being present. These figures are not only visible to those who suffer from sleep paralysis, they are also experienced by them. The pervasive feeling that something is there, intelligent, watchful, and aware of its surroundings. Whispers, guttural noises, or an unfathomable sense that whatever is there in the room is not from this world, are some of the things that some people have reported hearing. This cannot be explained by a malfunction in the chemistry of the brain. There is also the pressure that is present. A great number of people who suffer from sleep paralysis report feeling as though they are being suffocated by something that is pressing down on their chest, as if they are being crushed. Because of the widespread nature of this sensation, it can be found in folklore from all over the world. During the Middle Ages in Europe, people whispered about evil entities called incubus and succubus, dark creatures that sneak into people's sleep, seducing, controlling, and draining their life force in the dead of night. In Japan, the phenomenon was called kaneshibari, an invisible force that binds sleepers, rendering them unable to move, even when fully awake. In South America, many believed that they were wandering spirits, ghosts hungry for life, secretly sucking the energy from the unknowing dreamers. If sleep paralysis is simply a neurological disorder, why does every culture, every era, even if they have never crossed paths, describe it with such terrifyingly similar symbols? Why is the fear it brings so deep, so primal, so primitive, that it seems to be inscribed in human DNA? This is no longer the vague fear of nightmares. This is the fear of realizing that something invisible is staring back at you from the darkness, when you are completely helpless, and worse, completely awake. And as the paralysis quietly passes, the question lingers: was this a dream, or was it the first time you were truly awake? Most people drift through dreams like passengers caught in a whirlwind of images and emotions, unable to control, unable to understand. But there are those, rare and special, who awaken right inside their own dreams. They look around and realize the other world is not real. Not because it is an illusion, but because they have become aware of the laws behind it. And when they awaken, they become the creators of reality. They fly, bend space, rewrite the rules of the world with the power of their thoughts. That is the phenomenon of lucid dreaming, where you are no longer a passive person, but become the god of your own dream world. Stop and think. If your brain can create an entire universe in your sleep, complete with real emotions, smells, textures, sounds, and even lifelike people, what's the difference between dreams and reality? Neuroscientists have determined that everything you see, hear, feel, and is actually just your brain's interpretation. Colors don't really exist. They're just the result of light interacting with your eyes. Time isn't absolute. It's a linear illusion your brain creates to help you navigate the physical world. So if everything is just a subtle projection of your mind, how can you be sure that the world you wake up to each morning isn't just another illusion? Lucid dreaming, like a tiny crack in the system, shows you a way out, not just from your dreams, but possibly from the world. Many ancient traditions, from Hinduism to Tibetan Buddhism, emphasize that both dreams and waking life are illusions, and that only when you realize this can you begin the path to enlightenment. In dream yoga, people do not practice controlling dreams out of curiosity, but because it is the first step to awakening from the larger dream, this life itself. And then the scariest question emerges, but almost no one dares to ask. If you can awaken in your dreams and become the creator of that world, then why do you think you can't do the same with this reality? Should we consider the possibility that lucid dreaming is more than just a mental trick? Is it possible that there is a flaw in the system? A hole in the illusion that allows us to view the absolute truth? It has been hypothesized by a few researchers that the mechanisms of lucid dreaming are analogous to those that we would anticipate having in a simulation. If reality were a simulated construct designed to keep us uninformed of its true nature, then lucid dreaming would be the equivalent of a hacker uncovering a backdoor. Those individuals who achieve lucidity are no longer constrained by the limitations of the program. Rather, they begin to exert control over the source code of their dreams. What if, however, that idea applies to more than just sleep? If one is able to awaken from within a dream, then is it also possible to awaken from within the realm of reality? Perhaps this is the reason why lucid dreaming is still so uncommon. Most people will go through their entire lives without ever coming to the realization that they have the ability to take charge. In their dreams, as much as in their waking lives, the majority of people will continue to be unaware. A gateway is opened, however, for those individuals who do wake up, for those individuals who become aware of the deception. When the doors finally open, the main question that arises is, to what destination does it lead? There are some locations that you have never been, but you feel as though you are familiar with them. Streets that you have never walked before, but every turn feels like it does. In your dreams, you see people that are not familiar to you in your waking life, but who are friends, family, or lovers for the rest of your life. Certain dreams have this sensation of being stories, disjointed and quite bizarre. But what about others? Some of them feel like recollections, like glimpses of a life that isn't yours but is yet yours in every way. If these aren't merely dreams, what if they are? If you were to walk into a different version of yourself every night, living a different existence, and inhabiting a universe that continues long after you wake up, what would that be like? A significant number of individuals have reported having recurring dream locales, which are settings that do not exist in their waking lives yet emerge repeatedly in their dreams, as if they are going back to their own homes. In addition to being detailed and consistent, these landscapes are also unchanging. Given that dreams are nothing more than random brain activity, how is this even possible? However, a dream city, a dream house, or a dream universe will remain precisely as it was before, waiting for you to visit it. Memories can fade over time. Some people have even had the experience of meeting the same persons in multiple dreams throughout their lives, carrying on conversations that continue from where they left off. Imagination does not function in this manner. It is the way that reality operates. The multiverse, which is considered to be one of the most groundbreaking theories in contemporary physics, is consistent with the concept that dreams may be more than just imagination. According to the theory of quantum physics, every decision and every possibility causes reality to be divided into an endless number of versions, parallel worlds in which various outcomes are brought about. In the event that this is the case, what if dreams are not merely made-up stories, but rather portals into these different lives? What would happen if, in a different reality, you are dreaming about this world in the same way that you dream about theirs? There is a school of thought that holds that when we dream, our consciousness temporarily transforms into a different version of ourselves, while simultaneously tuning into a different frequency of existence. The reason why certain dream settings appear to be more vivid and recognizable than they actually are could be explained by this. This would provide an explanation for why people seem to visit the same locations again and over again, as if they are living two lives at the same time. Our presumption is that the boundaries are stable. It's possible that the distinction between this world and whatever exists beyond it is nothing more than a perception, a mental construct that helps us remain rooted in one form of reality at a time. What happens, however, when those limits become less rigid? There are examples that have been observed in which individuals can experience whole alternate lifetimes within the context of a single dream. They awaken with memories of years spent in other places, memories that do not belong to this life, but are just as vivid and just as full as the memories they have in this life. They remember their childhoods, relationships, and entire histories. But as soon as they open their eyes, those associations are gone. After only a few hours of sleep, how is it that the brain is able to develop something that is so large and so complete? Alternately, is it possible that these lives already exist, and the dreamer has only crossed over, momentarily entering the consciousness of a different self? Taking into consideration that dreams are merely glimpses into other realms, what does this imply for the waking life? Could it be that we are confined to a single version of ourselves? Or do we live in several dimensions, each of which is just as real as the one that before it? Furthermore, if we are able to reach these worlds while we are sleeping, is it feasible that something, somewhere, is attempting to access our world? In the event that reality is limitless, what occurs when the dreamer is no longer aware of whatever realm they are most familiar with? You come to, and for a little instant, the dream is still present in your mind. The specifics are clear, and the feelings are unfiltered, but in a matter of seconds, it starts to fade away, dissipating like mist in the early morning illumination. There are pieces that you strive to hang on to, such as an image, a sensation, or a voice. Nevertheless, the more you try to keep hold of it, the more quickly it disappears, until eventually it is gone. Every single thing that you went through and every single planet that you entered is wiped out as if it had never taken place once. But why is that? Why is it that our minds allow us to create complete realities while we are sleeping, but these realities are erased from our memories as soon as we come to consciousness? Conventional scientific thought provides an explanation. Dream memories are not considered to be of high priority by the brain because they are not necessary for living. When compared to waking life, dreams are disorganized, frequently odd, and do not adhere to the same principles. Researchers in the field of neuroscience have shown that the hippocampus, which is the region of the brain that is responsible for remembering, does not encode the majority of dreams in the same way that it does waking events. What is the end result? They are gone before we have the opportunity to intentionally store them. On the other hand, if dreams were completely devoid of any significance, then why does the brain use so much effort to produce them? What is it about certain dreams that have such a profound effect on us that they remain with us for years? And what is it about certain dreams that are so potent that, despite the fact that we have erased our memories, we wake up feeling as though we have just touched something that is beyond our comprehension? A number of scholars are of the opinion that this process of forgetting dreams is not merely a passive one, but rather an active one. The idea that the brain deletes dream memories on purpose in order to maintain our connection to the world we experience while we are awake. It is possible that the line that separates waking life and dreams would begin to blur if we were to remember every dream with the same clarity that we do waking life. It's possible that this is the point. Could it be that we are not supposed to remember? It is possible that the act of forgetting is not a malfunction of the brain, but rather a system that is engineered to prevent us from recognizing something that we were never intended to comprehend. Let us think about the dreams that do not fade, the ones that continue to be clear and vivid even after many years have passed. In other cases, they manifest themselves as warnings, premonitions, or meetings with figures that are so real that they seem more real than anything that can be experienced in waking life. These are the dreams that are adamant about not being forgotten. Given that the brain deletes the majority of dreams as a form of self-defense, it is puzzling that certain dreams are able to circumvent this function. What distinguishes them from one another? Is it possible that certain dreams are intended to remain with us for a long time? That they are carrying something that is far too significant to be abandoned? Dreams were interpreted as communications from another realm, a means by which the unconscious mind or even something beyond the self may reveal truths that would otherwise remain concealed. This was the case in several ancient faiths. But if this is the case, then who or what is responsible for selecting the dreams that we remember? What if the dreams that we suddenly wake up from include information that is too upsetting for us to carry with us into our waking lives? Can you imagine a scenario in which remembering too much might destroy the illusion of reality itself? If the brain is intended to deny the existence of dream memories, then there must be a rationale behind this behavior. It is a question that very few people are willing to address, whether the cause and issue is biological or something far more unpleasant. However, the next time you wake up from a dream and realize that it is fading away, you should ask yourself, what is it that you are truly forgetting? Of far more significance, who made the decision that you were not meant to remember? At the end of each day, you close your eyes and leave yourself up to the unknown. When you are in this state, your body stops moving, your awareness begins to wane, and you find yourself in a state where time has no significance. While you are drifting through landscapes that appear to be both familiar and foreign, you come across people and places that disappear the instant you open your eyes. And then, just like that, you come back to the world of the living with only shards of recollection to tell you that you were ever absent from this world. On the other hand, what if sleep isn't only something that the body demands? But what if it's something that's much deeper than that? What if each and every time you go to sleep, you are actually practicing for something much more significant? The ultimate transition, the moment when you close your eyes and never open them again. Sleep and death have been linked for a very long time, not just in a metaphorical sense, but also in physical sense. It was believed that sleep was a moment of temporary death in many ancient cultures. It was a time when the spirit would depart from the body and travel to realms that were not visible to the human eye. Thanatos, the god of death, was the twin brother of Hypnos, the god of sleep, according to Greek mythology. Hypnos was the deity of sleep. Dreaming is a state of consciousness that is described in many spiritual teachings as being frighteningly similar to the hereafter. Dreaming is characterized as an altered state of consciousness in which time and space become fluid and the boundaries between the self and reality start to melt. Is it possible that sleep is more than just a period of rest? Rather, it is a glimpse into what is ahead. There is more to the links between death and sleep than just a symbolic connection. During the process of falling asleep, your brain waves slow down, your body enters a condition of paralysis, and your consciousness becomes distinct from your physical perceptions while you are asleep. People who have been clinically dead for minutes, only to return with stories of floating outside their bodies, witnessing their lives flash before their eyes, and exploring realms beyond human comprehension, have reported having near-death experiences. This detachment is similar to the reports of others who have had these experiences. What do people most frequently find in their near-death experiences? There was a feeling of awakening, as if the reality they were experiencing was more real than the one they had previously left behind. A further connection that is worrisome is revealed. At the time of death, the same molecule that is thought to be responsible for dreaming, known as DMT, is also released. Given that DMT is capable of causing the mind to enter dream states, and that it also floods the brain throughout the process of dying, what does this imply? It is possible that death itself is a shift into a different level of consciousness, one that is identical to the state of consciousness that we experience when we are sleeping. Given that the dream world appears to be just as real as the one we experience when we are awake, what if death is merely the time when we enter that realm for good? The journey that some people who have returned from near-death experiences describe as being like walking out of one reality and into another is rather remarkable. They talk about situations in which they come into contact with creatures and environments that are beyond the scope of human perception. What if, however, this is not something that is exclusive to death? What happens if we do this all the time, but we forget to do it every night? If there is a connection between sleep and death, then what does this imply about the events that take place when we dream? Furthermore, what does it tell about the nature of waking existence, which is even more unsettling by it? Perhaps there is more to sleep than simply getting the body ready for the day. This is a steady, nightly reminder that what we call reality is not as solid as it appears to be, and that one day we will close our eyes and this world will go just as easily as a dream that we have forgotten. It is preparation for the mind. Is it possible that we will find ourselves in a different place when that moment arrives? When we take our last breath? Alternately, have we been there the whole time, and we are only now recalling something that we were never supposed to forget? All of the information that you have ever been given regarding sleep is insufficient. As far as the scientific community is concerned, dreams are nothing more than the brain's way of processing information, a collection of thoughts and memories that are completely at random. One thing becomes abundantly clear when we begin to piece together the seemingly disparate facts. The surge of brain activity during sleep, the presence of DMT, the mysterious chemical linked to near-death experiences, and the paranormal, precognitive dreams that defy logic, active lucid dreaming, and strange encounters with unnamed entities. It all leads to a simple but shocking conclusion. Not all sleep is the same. Behind the silence of the night, something profound is at work, something that humanity may never fully understand. We grow up believing that our waking life is all there is, that dreams are just illusions, meaningless fragments jumbled together by the brain. But what if it were the other way around? What if the world you wake up in is just a version of reality, and the world you enter when you close your eyes to sleep is closer to the truth? Every night when you fall asleep, your consciousness doesn't disappear. It escapes the physical realm. You enter worlds where time is warped, space is shifted, emotions are intense, and everything is strangely vivid. But then, the next morning, you brush it all off. You forget. You smile softly at the memory of the dream, then let it slip into oblivion. Why? Because you've been taught to. Because the system that runs your reality doesn't want you to ask questions it can't answer. What are dreams really? Where does consciousness go when we sleep? Are we crossing dimensional boundaries, taking on other versions of ourselves, or reaching into realms of knowledge that are beyond human reach? These are questions that are not mere curiosity. They are stabs that go deep into the foundations of everything we believe about reality. Imagine a day when science had to admit that dreams can reveal the future, that consciousness is not bound to the brain, and that the mind can exist outside the confines of space and time. All the measures of current understanding would collapse. Control would falter. And you, who are reading this, would be one of the few who would begin to see the cracks in the illusion. You are no longer simply awakening from sleep. You are awakening from a lifelong deception. You begin to understand that reality is not monolithic, that consciousness is a far greater force than you have ever been taught, and that the mysteries of sleep may be the key to unlocking the true nature of existence. Most people go through life without ever wondering what lies beyond the boundaries of the familiar. But if you're someone who wants to go deeper, if you're willing to explore the things that people don't dare to put into words, Scared Pathways is where you should start. In our free videos, you'll find information that's here. See you in the next one.